Hello, everybody out there in the You Are Worthy Network. So good to be with you. If you're in the part of the U.S. that got the snow and ice this past weekend, I hope you're staying safe and warm and making wise decisions about to be out on the road or not. Lisa and I were just talking about road conditions. We basically got the same storm, even though we're a couple states away. It was a massive storm. But I hope you guys are safe. And as I realized when I came to you guys live yesterday, I felt a little rusty, and I was like, I think it's been 7, 10 days. And I was looking back at my notes. I was like, it was 2 weeks since I had been live. I was planning on going to an event last weekend, and so I kind of slowed down my schedule for interviews. And then the event, they got snowed out. So this storm's just affected a lot of folks in the US. But enough about the weather. I just want to remind you guys today. I love that I get to do this. I love that I get to be the one to remind you guys today that whatever you're going through, whatever you're enduring, whatever you're working towards, whatever you're praying about, you don't have to wait until it happens to feel worthy. You're worthy today. You're worthy right now. You're worthy of love, respect, and success. And I'll even tell you why today. You're worthy because of Jesus' sacrifice. You're worthy because of the blood. Yeah, I'm a preacher, so I'm going to preach a little bit. But I appreciate each one of you. And I want to remind you that wherever you're at, and I don't take it lightly whatsoever, because these are tough days, tough times we're living in. You matter, and God's not done with your story yet. Be encouraged. So, having said that, I'm excited to introduce you to our guest today, someone that I've gotten to know a little bit over the last few weeks. And, before I got to know her, if you've ever been on her Facebook wall page, she, she is a ball of energy. I'm sure she's heard that before. I don't even know if ball is the right word, but she is a bundle of energy. But I think you'll find she's also very, very warm, very, very kind, and very, very wise. And I think we'll come up with a few more adjectives in our time today. But I need to be quiet about that and get to her bio. As your connection coach, I help individuals and teams improve communication so they can understand themselves and others, build trust, and create stronger relationships at work, at home, and in their communities. Lisa is a keynote speaker, a certified body language coach, a certified Maxwell leadership coach and trainer, certified behavior analysis consultant, otherwise known as DISC, and has 35 years of small business ownership. Lisa, I'm so excited to have you in the You Are Worthy Network. Welcome.
Hey, Steve, thank you so much. I'm so honored to be here with you today.
It's awesome. Was my description about the energy somewhat right? How would you classify yourself?
It is probably one of the top comments that I get is on my energy. I had a gentleman the other day who runs a company, and he said, "I just want to hire you to come in and do cartwheels down our hall and just to be our little source of energy here." I was like, "Hey, if you're gonna pay me to do cartwheels, I am not gonna turn that down." Anyway, yeah, but it's an honor. Thank you, Steve. I'm just so thankful to be here with you. I love what you're doing here.
Oh, thank you so much. So tell folks, I was alluding to the storm there, and one of the blessings that we've had here in the network is, and you can't explain this any other way, but the hand of God. Like it's not even 6 months old yet, and we're approaching 8,000 members. And I love, love, love that we have an international flavor now. We've got people watching in South America, Europe, Asia. Eventually over the next 30 days, they'll watch your interview. So tell us what part of the world you're in.
I am in Shreveport, Louisiana. And so I always have to caveat that because people hear Louisiana and they think New Orleans. And I say we're the uncool part of Louisiana. New Orleans is almost like a state in and of itself, culturally so rich and amazing. Shreveport is great, but we're way more diverse. It's not the Cajun country that people think of when they think of Louisiana. So we are northwest, just about as far northwest as you can get on the map in Louisiana. And yes, we were on national news because of this storm, but we survived, thankfully.
You guys do not get it very often, that is for sure.
Yep, that's right.
Just curious, how far is Shreveport from Jackson, Mississippi?
About 3.5 hours.
Oh, that far. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That
Yeah,
makes sense.
we're about in between Dallas and Jackson. So it takes about the same amount of time each way.
Okay. Because I know where I'm at, Memphis, it takes 6 to get to New Orleans and Jackson's halfway. But I think to your point, Shreveport's further east, right? Or is it further west?
Best. Yeah.
West. That's why. That's why. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I got my geography lesson today and I didn't do so well. So yeah,
You did
no.
great.
Tell us a little bit about your family.
Yeah, so a mom of three and a wife of one. So I've got three girls, and my husband and I have been married this year will be 30 years. He dated
Wow.
me 5.5 years before he decided I was the one. So I've got almost 35 and a half years invested into this man who I love. We were college cheer sweethearts. That's how we met. And so we've been together since I was 18 years old, I think. I'm 53 this year. So, yeah, so I'm, in Shreveport. We have one kid in Washington. One is still at home with us. One is a couple cities away. And our youngest is at college at Louisiana State University in Shreveport. And yeah, that's really kind of family life here. My husband has worked from home for almost 20 years and just this past year is in an office for the first time in a long time. So that's been an adjustment because as an entrepreneur, I have been able to work from home for a long time. And so that's a little bit about us.
Yeah, it's amazing how many people that I meet that have a child or children in Washington State. I don't know what it is about this generation in Washington State, but it's just something I've noticed
Yes.
interviewing different people. And I did not know about you. So congratulations on the 30 years.
Thank
It
you.
is 30 years or it's coming up.
This coming December will be 30 years. So we just hit our
Oh,
29th. Yep.
okay. So 96, right?
Yes, that's
In
right.
19, so my wife and I hit 30 years in July of 26,
Congratulations.
and we have 3 kids. So
Yes.
it's interesting the parallel sometimes.
Yes.
So what do you guys like to do for fun?
Let's see. So my husband and I love pickleball. We don't get to play super often, but we do enjoy that. He is a jujitsu black belt, so not only does he teach and train, but that's his heart and passion. He would love for me to do it, and it's just not my thing. I was Taekwondo for years and years, so our whole family has done martial arts. My youngest is third degree black belt. She competes overseas, like she's 19, pretty amazing. Personally, what I do for fun, I'm a dancer. I've been dancing my entire life. Some girlfriends of mine and I, we love to go roller skating, rock climbing. We go to the trampoline park and just jump, just the four of us. And we span 40s to 57 between all four of us. So bunch of middle-aged ladies at the trampoline park. We just love to have fun. Anything active for me is just such a joy. I love to move my body. It's a
You're still a
gift,
kid
right? It's a gift.
to be able to do it.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
You're still a kid at heart, aren't you?
Always. Always. I hope so. I
Yeah.
hope I would stay that way.
Keeps you young, right?
That's right. That's right.
I love it. So let's travel back. Let's travel back in time. We're in that same generation. We were raised, in the late 70s and mostly the 80s, it sounds like. Um, Take us back to senior year, Lisa, senior year of high school,
Mm.
maybe 18, maybe 17, about to be 18, thinking about your future plans. what you wanted to do. Was it going to be college? Was it going to be something else? Were you going to work right away? What tell us about next steps and about because the world's yours at 17, 18 years old, right?
Yeah.
Tell us about those dreams for that young lady.
Well, that young lady wanted to be a marine biologist. That young lady wanted to train Shamu and, have a bunch of dolphins as friends. Like that had actually been my dream for many years prior to my 17, 18-year-old self. So when I actually graduated at 17 and went to college at a local community college, and we did not have a lot of money at all. It was just me and my mom and my sister. My sister has special needs. She has Down syndrome. So, a lot of our resources went there as well. So I was looking at joining the National Guard, Steve. I'm 5 foot tall. Okay. So I'm like, yeah, I think I'll go fight for our country so that I can go to college for free because I don't know how I'm going to go to college. And my mother literally said, Lisa, would you please go out for cheerleader first and see if you make it? Because I was a cheerleader in high school. She said, because
Mhm.
they have a scholarship and maybe you won't have to go into the National Guard. I'm like, sure, I have nothing to lose. So that's what I did. I went to a local community college, got a cheer scholarship, was able to bypass that. But then that's when I met and fell in love with my husband. He was also a cheerleader at this community college. And still wanting to be a marine biologist, a year into our relationship, he was going to Monroe, Louisiana. Well, there is no ocean or SeaWorld or anything like that in middle of, Louisiana. And so I was going, okay, either I go off to Texas San Marcos and continue on with this dream, or I switch gears because I love this man and I think I'm going to follow him. So I decided to go there, also get a cheer scholarship. And so I went into dental hygiene because my mother had been in the dental field for decades. She's like, you're always going to need a dental, they're always going to need a dental hygienist. 6 months in, I'm miserable. What I wanted to do my entire life wasn't on the plate. I was still with the man that I loved, but now I'm in dental hygiene school going, what am I even doing here? What is this life? Because I don't want to look in people's mouths for the rest of my lives rest of my life. So I literally went to my counselor, spread out all of my credits because now I'm in my third year of college going, I don't know what to do. And I said, how do I get out of here the fastest? And she said, health and human performance. I said, sold. What do I need to do?
What is that?
Fell in love with the health field, ended up staying in for my master's in exercise science, all because I just wanted to be with my husband. And so I was in health and fitness for 34 years before I ever went into communication, leadership, body language, all of that. But so much of my journey, and I really actually had my hand in leadership over all that time in health and fitness. I did help some teams and many individuals. However, that was my love and passion for so long. So that's where I was before I ever got to where I am right now. Kind of interesting.
Okay, so all right, you get into health and fitness. What specifically did you do with that?
Gosh, so a lot of things. I taught, we owned two Anytime Fitness centers in East Texas. So we opened up gyms. I taught all kinds of dance, fitness, strength training, all of that. So my husband's master's was business. So he took the business side of things and I took the fitness side of things. I had my own, company for so long that I ran, that I did things locally. And then when COVID hit, I had already gone online. So I continued that until I ended up where I am today in the leadership and communication space. But yeah, that was my area, and very specifically women over 40. Those were the people that had my heart.
Makes sense. Makes sense. So is there a burnout story of being a business owner, or is there a story of a sign from God that you were supposed to make a leap? I mean, because I guess you're already kind of in the entrepreneur waters, being a business owner, obviously. But at some point, sounds like there might have been a more significant leap into entrepreneur leadership. Would that be fair?
Yes, because I've actually been an entrepreneur since I was in the seventh grade. I was illegally selling markers to my classmates at 25 cents above retail. So I've always had an entrepreneurial spirit, always. I think the statute of limitations is over and I don't have to look over my shoulder for that one. But yes, Steve, it was in the past really 3 years that as much as I loved the industry, it felt like it was getting a little bit more toxic. A lot of people were coming and finding clips of fitness instructors that were doing their best or health. And I was more in the integrative space. I had a very holistic practice that was body, mind, and spirit. Like God is the CEO of my life. So he was always at the very center. But there were just these people that would come on and just tear down those of us, and it never happened to me, but I just kept seeing this more and more online. And it was one of those points where I thought, you know what? I had been following John Maxwell since the early 2000s. I had loved him, had so much of his books, had led, like I said, I did lead some teams in that period of time in my fitness journey and leaned into a lot of Maxwell's resources. And I just felt this huge shift that the next act, I call everything up to age 50, act one, that act two was going to look very, very different for me. And so it was just kind of this slow roll. I didn't get to the end and go, I need a new career. What am I going to do? It was just this natural progression of all of this experience that I had gained through helping develop leaders through health and fitness, but then specifically some teams that I was able to help throughout that time in all of those decades. And it just felt like this perfect match. And I ended up taking so many of my clients that were in health and fitness and really helping them to fall in love with personal development and leadership and growth in this trajectory, and many of them came with me. So I was so blessed that it was kind of hand in glove. So yes, there was kind of this pivotal moment, but it was also this very easy, not easy shift. I had an identity crisis for a year because I'd been a health and fitness instructor for so long, but it was a pretty seamless shift over here because it's where my heart was. It was where a lot of my experience was, which I'll share, a little bit about my growing up and where I wasn't, didn't feel worthy for so long, and I was able to use that to help people and teams move forward.
Okay, so I'm hearing business owner, entrepreneur spirit ever since you were, a little girl. And then, you mentioned Maxwell. Would you say that Maxwell served in some capacity, maybe significant, I don't know, as a bridge to the things you're doing now?
Significant, yes, because
Okay.
I became certified with him, and even leading up to the certification, just in all of my, as you know, there's tons of resources that is available when you become a Maxwell coach. I just fell so in love and realized that this was a seat that I felt like God wanted me to take in in my community. And specifically with teams, getting to lead teams through Maxwell's lens, through that principle as a keynote speaker, being able to gain, all of the knowledge and resources that I've gained from that as well, even speaking for decades. Maxwell just took me to another level. So that is completely fair and accurate. He was the bridge to where I am now. God used him and all of his resources beautifully.
Okay. So what year did you join Maxwell?
2024.
I remember that conversation. We had that conversation now. Yep, just a couple of years ago.
Yep.
Um, so tell folks that may not be familiar with Maxwell, um, what the network, what the community is like.
Oh, wow. So John Maxwell, if you don't know who he is, you need to look him up, and you probably have one of his books on your bookshelf. The man has written many. Just the community, it's so rich with people who desire to add value to others. And I think for me, that's why it was such a hand in a glove. That's what my whole life had been. It looked a little different, but but adding value to others. How can we take where we are and go from where we are to where we want to be, where God designed us to be, what He desires to do with our gifts, talents, and abilities? And so, what the Maxwell platform and what his certification program does is give you not only the knowledge, but tons of resources to be able to add value at a completely different level. And that was the draw to me. And then, of course, the community of like-minded people is just, it's, I can't speak enough about it. Yeah, it's a blessing.
Oh, that's awesome. So, we read your bio a little bit ago, and it's so diverse. Um, if you had your choice, like and tomorrow morning you can wake up, what does the perfect day look like for you, and who would you be working with tomorrow?
Hmm. Oh gosh, you know what I love, Steve? I love speaking. But it's funny because because I've been speaking for decades, I used to speak as a teacher. And now I speak as almost just a fellow journeyman. And it really is a difference. That's something that I have also learned from Maxwell. So for me, that comes about in two ways. It's either a keynote speech or it's a workshop because I love them both equally. In fact, a friend and I were talking the other day, if you had to choose one, which could you choose? Keynote speaking or doing workshops? I said, because I run my keynote speeches kind of like a workshop, I don't know how to decipher. I love them both so much
Mm,
because there's audience engagement regardless. It's all about the experience so that can can they can experience an impact to create transformation. If I am up here and I'm talking and you don't walk away with some kind of transformative thought, something that takes you on a journey to get you from where you are to where you want to be, I've not done my job. So for me, a perfect day would be doing one of those two things because I love them with all my heart, because I get to add value to others and help them engage with the material and the content, maybe in a way they haven't before, which is such a blessing to me. As far as who I serve, it's anybody who desires to go from where they are to where they want to be. When it comes to communication, do you want to give your best with your first impression because there's a job interview or you're walking into a networking event? Do you want to, increase how you connect with people? One of my favorite book of his is Everyone Communicates, Few Connect. And it says it all right there in the title. And that is my heart and soul, is to help people not just communicate. We're all doing that all day, every day, but are we truly connecting
yeah.
with each other's hearts and in a way that helps the person in front of us feel seen, valued, and understood, which is my favorite definition of charisma, meaning we can all use more charisma and be more charismatic, and you don't have to have an outgoing personality to help the person across from you feel those things.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, so let's camp here just for a second.
Okay.
So I'm an event planner, and I've got 600 people in the room for you. I know this doesn't happen very often, but we get to make this up however we want. I've retained you, and I'm willing to pay you, and you can talk about anything you want to my audience. What do you want to talk about?
I love this because I just talked about this a couple weeks ago, and I get some more opportunities to talk about it again coming up. And it's all about communication and connection, but it is through increasing our charisma, and it is through showing up the way we want to be perceived, which often comes through our body language. Because communication is 7% our words, 38% our tone, and 55% our body language,
Mm,
oftentimes we are only focused on that 7%. That means we are missing out on 93% of communication. Like,
mm.
that's a big deal. The two biggest rocks are our tone and our presence, how we're showing up, how our posture is, how we're entering a room, that first impression, how we're making the person in front of us feel seen, valued, and understood. So if I can convey that to an audience, if I have a choice and they're like, what do you want to talk about? These are the things that I'm going to bring to the table. So you literally walk out with very practical tools because that's my goal is that you can walk away different. Right? Transformation takes time, but you've got tools in a toolkit that you can go, you know what? I learned this there. I need to pull out this wrench. I need to pull out
Yeah.
this hammer because this is the time to use it. That lights me up.
I see. And I was trying to do that, so that's
Yes,
good.
yes.
And something tells me as you start that keynote that there's going to be some type of exercise, warm up, or icebreaker, or a combination thereof.
Yes, yeah, there's always something. Yeah, the goal is to, get some energy going right from the very beginning because people just think they're going to watch a talking head for an hour. And I'm like, oh, no, no, no. You're about to be part of this experience. Nobody wants to listen to me for an hour. This is collaborative, So yeah, we got to do something to get that energy up right there at the very beginning.
Participation is vital for sure.
That's right.
Um, Now, what about coaching? Are you doing any private coaching, or is it more corporate training, disc assessments for corporations? Tell us kind of what you're involved with there.
Yeah, that's a great question. I do very limited one-on-one coaching because of my schedule. I've just taken on a really big account and I'm going to be doing a lot of training for this corporation. So it really is mostly team training, corporate training. So very small teams to larger teams is really where the majority of my time goes between that and speaking, and it's really pretty half and half, especially Q1 of 2026. I have so much of both of them. Praise God, because that's such a joy for me.
If you're in your sweet spot, how many times a year are you traveling to speak?
Um, oh goodness. No more than once a month. So I guess what would that be? 12 times a year,
Hmm.
simply because family is so important to me. My mom
Hmm.
is getting older, my husband's mom and stepdad is getting older, but once a month is very, very doable. Thankfully, because my mom is right up the road, so are my in-laws, and my family can swing in to help with anything that they need. So yeah, ideally no more than 12 times a year.
Okay. Okay. And I'm going to hit pause because we've hit some really exciting things that you love doing, and we're going to get back to that path here in a second. But you alluded to it a few minutes ago. I want
I'm
to ask.
so sorry. There's somebody at my door and they're just dropping something off, but they will go crazy until it's done. I apologize. Go ahead, Steve. I can hear you,
It,
but I don't want to pretend it's not happening. That's really piercing.
you know what's interesting about that? Usually, Zoom has such incredible filters. You usually can't hear it.
Oh,
But yeah, I
okay.
did. I did
Then
hear
never
it.
mind.
No, I did hear it. It's probably just UPS dropping off something.
It
That's my
is.
dog.
Yes, yes. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
It's probably distracting you more than anybody, I'm
Uh,
sure.
sorry. I can't get rid of
But
the dogs for a Zoom. I
n-
don't know what to do.
nor should you. I've got three that do the same thing.
Okay.
Um, so tell us about a time in your life where worthiness was lacking. You didn't feel worthy of love, respect, and success.
Yeah. Yeah. So Steve, I was born to two hippie parents, and I mean hippie, 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 hippie. We had the tapestries, the incense, and we grew marijuana in our backyard. We had an
Mm.
outhouse, we had our own chickens. Like by the time I was two, I could school any adult in how to roll a mean joint. Like we just were the hippies, okay? So my father cheated on my mother and got a lady pregnant, and so at two, when I was two he was out of my life and never came back in my life. So then it was just me and my mom. And we were up north. Our family's in from New England, and we came to Louisiana to visit my uncle, who was a boom operator at Barksdale Air Force Base. But we were not going to stay. We were just on our way to Oregon. And as my mom tells the story, we were on our way to a Christian compound. And I'm like, when you put the word compound at the end of anything, it just sounds sketchy. So we ended up not leaving. We built a life here, stayed with my uncle for a while, got our own home. She married my sister's dad. And so they had my sister, Jessie. Jessie, I mentioned earlier, has Down syndrome. And we just stayed in this hippie way of life. It never left. So we also moved a lot. And I guess that's more gypsy than hippie. But when I say a lot, Steve, by the time I was 24, when my husband and I had married, we had already lived in 55 homes. And so just think about for a moment, because I haven't done the math on what that average is, but it's a lot every single year. So I lived out of boxes. I never, ever unpacked because why? We were just about to find a house with better rent or a better school district, or it was always a different reason. We weren't military. My mom wasn't military. My uncle was, but not my mom. So we just were constantly, I was constantly in a new school, in a new neighborhood. And so much of your identity growing up
Yeah.
is based on the consistency of the people around you, your friends, your family. Well, we were far removed from all of our family. My uncle eventually moved on. So then it was me and my mom and my sister after my sister's dad left. It was just the three of us with I had no friends that I could say, "Oh, this has been my friend since kindergarten or first grade."
Mm.
Constant. And so I grew up with just this lack of identity, this lack of awareness. And I would find myself, Steve, I will never forget. I was at a daycare center. I was at one daycare center for a very long period of time with all of our moves. And I remember this girl came in and she was super cool and she was standing this certain way with her feet. And I remember looking at her and going, I don't know how to stand, but she's cool. So I'm going to stand like her. And I just found myself doing this all the time at new schools with new friend groups. I'm like, I'm going to do what they're doing because I don't know what to do with myself. So there was just
Mm.
this lack of identity. Then when I was 16, it was 16 or 17, but I believe I was 16. It was me and my mom and my sister in a home, and I had just gotten out of the shower and I was undressed, getting ready for bed. And there was a window that began like above my head in my bedroom, and it went up about this high. It was this little tiny window, kind of long, but it was up high. So I could be however I wanted in my bedroom, right? Because nobody could see anything. And out of the corner of my eye, I caught something. And so as I turned to look, and I remember being scared to look. So I'm like, surely this is not what I think it is. It was a man who was being so vile and so disgusting. And he wouldn't leave. My mom came in, was yelling at him. He would not leave. And he continued to be vile and disgusting. I had nowhere to hide because he was above me. And any shred of confidence, of self
Mm.
assurance, of self identity that I had that moment literally stripped it away. And so here I was, someone who didn't know who I was, who kind of mirrored everybody else, just trying to figure out how do I fit in. And then this occurred. By the way, we found out later that he had taken a cinder block and stood it on end, and he did this to people all over the neighborhood, which we didn't know because we'd only been there for 2 months. We're probably only there another 2 months. But it just shredded my confidence. It shredded anything left in me. And so then I went forward for years and years struggling to look definitely in any man's eyes. Forget it. Like I just would not make eye contact. But I even struggled with women because if you think about it, eye contact, Steve, is incredibly vulnerable. Like I felt peeled back and exposed if I held somebody's eye contact for very long. So there was just this baggage, for whatever reason that caused shame in me. I felt like I was always just kind of walking around without clothes on if I looked at somebody in the eye. It was just this very vulnerable time in my life that lasted well into my marriage even. And that is when I really started becoming intrigued with body language because I realized I had been using it not appropriately necessarily,
Mm.
but I had not stepped into that part of communication. Remember that 55% is our body language. And the
Mhm.
way that I connected with people was non-existent because I would focus on my words, but my tone, I never even thought about my tone. And my body language was one of shame, insecurity, low confidence, I didn't know who I was. I did not feel worthy. I didn't feel like I belonged anywhere. And now I felt exposed if anybody looked at me for any length of time and just knew that that meant me, they were going to mean me harm. So I just had a lot of mindset issues to work on. And I got to a point where I thought, I need to take back this power that I handed over at 16 years old. I need to take that back. And the only way I know to do that is to force myself to do the uncomfortable. And so I would force myself to look into somebody's eyes and hold their gaze. And oh my gosh, it brings tears to my eyes even today because it was so hard. It was so
Mm.
painful because it was just like, it was like standing in front of somebody with no clothes on and going, here I am. That's what it felt like every single time. But I would challenge myself, look a little bit longer, look a little bit longer. You're safe. They don't mean you.
Wow.
You are your father's daughter and you are going to be okay. And so over a period of time, I leaned into the hard and the uncomfortable so that I could take that power back that I had released to a complete stranger that I never saw again, thankfully. And 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 one step at a time, I started to feel this become this, not out of ego, but out of peace, out of Godfidence. Can't even say confidence because I wasn't even there at the beginning, but I knew that my daddy had me. And the more that I leaned into that, the more I started noticing how many other people did the same thing. I don't know what their story was, but they were playing life small because they were physically shrinking. And it just emboldened me to help more people. And that is why I'm where I am today.
I That's a remarkable story. I'm moved by your vulnerability, and I don't think I caught how old you were, or maybe you didn't even say it. And you were saying, you were a teenager, and I was just about to ask you when you said in the flow you were 16, and yeah, I mean a very traumatic event for a girl that age. Um, I think it's remarkable, and it says a lot about, well, it says a lot about your faith, and it says a lot about your resilience, which also probably comes from your faith, how you've been able to move on from that. I'm sorry it happened, but in a way, it's made you stronger too.
It made me
And
who I am. All of these things,
yeah,
right? All of the moves, all of the figuring out who I am, all of the I don't belong. I don't regret any of it because I probably wouldn't be talking to you right now, Steve. I wouldn't have a platform. I wouldn't have the passions that I have to help other people and to add value. So all of these things I truly believe make us who we are and are stepping stones
that's right.
to lead us to be the people, the men and the women that God has called us to be. We can't go through that if life is just perfect, which it isn't for anybody.
No,
But I don't see those things from a victim mindset. I did. There was a time where I played the big time victim card, but then I decided, you know what? I need to take back what was taken from me. And honestly, I gave it away because that person did it to everybody in the neighborhood. I need to take it back. It's up to me. Nobody's going to give it to me. And it was step by step through God's grace, but it's 100% made me the person I am today. And for that, I can't be mad.
no, no, you wouldn't go back, and you don't wish it upon anybody, but it's made you who you are.
Right.
And for you guys listening, I hope you're getting a lot out of this, because this is why I created this network. Because in the last 18 months, I usually don't talk about myself a whole lot here, but the last 18 months, I've been doing heavy mindset work on myself. And during that work, the word unworthy kept coming up. Now, you guys that know me know I'm a pastor. I've written books, I've spoken. I mean, it's not that I haven't achieved things. I even am a director of a nonprofit where we teach you how to process your unprocessed emotions, which has helped me immensely. But I never realized how faith and mindset work together until the last 2 years. And it was in that process I learned that I am worthy. See, I thought I was unworthy. even as a Christian of 22 years and as a pastor, I was struggling with my identity. And so that's why I've created this network is to go back into the fire and help so many of you that are struggling with the same thing we all struggle with. And I love Lisa's story because our subtitle in our group is Your Story's Not Over Yet. Her story wasn't over at 16. You may say, well, yeah, that's obvious. She was young. Well, there we know there's people that can affect them the rest of their life, or it can end in a very tragic way too, especially with mental health the way it is in our country today, the United States specifically. Anyway, I just wanted to say thank you for sharing that so vulnerably. It was a great example. But it did not hold you back, and you have gone on to do great things. Can you tell us, are you able to give us a little sneak peek into something exciting that may be coming down the line this year?
Oh my goodness. You know what? I just feel so blessed, Steve. 2025 was really a year for me to say yes to a lot of things. And some of it was too many yeses, but some of it was just necessary as I 2025 was kind of that bridge year. So coming from 2024, making that big pivot, I had been all over the US quite a bit before that. And now I was like, I need to bloom where I'm planted. So I said yes to a lot of opportunities, a lot of things that so that I could become known where I am, and not rely on somebody flying me somewhere to do whatever. And so it was a lot of yeses. So to answer your question, so much of that has come to fruition and set my 2026 up. It's just incredible. I have this, I talked about it a moment ago, but this amazing company that I get to work with. They're called McElroy Metal. They're a huge company. They've got managers all over the United States. They're flying them in for me to train them. And I'm just so excited because it's a great company, a great staff. That's one of the things I'm so excited about. I also talked about that other company that joked about me coming in and doing cartwheels, but they really want to bring me in to somehow be part of their ecosystem and to add value to their team. And I don't know what that looks like. That's on the horizon. I have many speaking opportunities coming up and workshops with teams. So honestly, right now, I'm so blessed every single day, thanking God every single day that He is allowing me to do what I get to do, what I love to do, and what I feel like I truly have been called to do at this phase of my life.
You are in the sweet zone of life right now.
It does feel that way, yes.
Tell folks where they can go on social media and learn more about you and what you do.
Yeah, so probably my biggest presence. I mean, I'm on Facebook a lot. So Lisa Arendell on Facebook. I don't do anything with a business page anymore. It's all on my professional profile. So there they can connect with me. On Instagram at Lisa Lou Impact. That's my company name, Lisa Lou Impact. On LinkedIn, Lisa Lou Impact. So kind of everywhere on social. So yeah, I'd love to connect and be of service to anybody who thinks they could use anything that God has gifted me with.
Yeah, he's gifted you with a lot for sure, and we'll include those social media links in the show notes afterwards. Lisa, I'd like you to take just a minute, whatever comes to your mind, whatever's on your heart. How would you like to encourage the viewers today before we sign off?
If you are going through something that is you see as persecution, I think sometimes we look at persecution as physical, but anything that for the name of Christ, I'm gonna talk to my believers here for a moment. If you are suffering anything for the sake of Christ, if you have been canceled, if you have been, if you're going through, if you've lost a job because you've stood up for the name of Jesus Christ, if you have gone through anything where you feel like it's for the name of Jesus, I want you to take heart and I want you to be encouraged that God is absolutely not done with you, and there is not just a purpose and a plan, but there is favor on your life. I talked with a lady the other day who was talking about how she knew this lady in another country, and it was a country that was persecuting Christians. And when they found out she was a Christian, she was in the middle of her wedding. They came and they put chains on her arms, on her hands, and she kissed the chains and thanked God that she was worthy to suffer for his namesake. So we, especially those of us who live in the United States, we're not being carted off to jail. Yet we can still suffer a different kind of persecution. And so I just want to encourage anybody, just because that's so on my heart this week after speaking with some others who have just really, really suffered for the name of Jesus, be encouraged and kiss the chains and know that he has led you here for a reason. And through that, he's going to do such amazing work if you'll allow him to.
Wow. I mean, kiss the chains. That'll stick. Thank you for
I,
sharing that. That's
that's
powerful. Very powerful. Lisa, I knew you would shine like a shining star today, and you did not disappoint. I said your energy, your warmth, your kindness, and your wisdom, I think were the four I used at the beginning, if memory serves me correctly. You gave us that, but you also gave us vulnerability, transparency, and resilience. And so you're a remarkable human being. We need more of you here on planet Earth, and you're making a huge dent. Keep shining brightly. I thank you for being our guest today. I thank you for being my friend, and it's been wonderful having you.
It was an honor, Steve. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Guys, you heard it again. God wasn't done with Lisa's story. He's not done with yours either. Sometimes it feels like it's hopeless, but if you have him, you always have hope. He knows every hair on your head. You're engraved on the palm of his hand. He knew you before you were knit in your mother's womb, and he loved you first. Be encouraged today. You matter, and I'm glad you're with us. I appreciate each one of you. Until next time, God bless.